What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Moy Diaz Combat Pubcast. It is 12 minutes after midnight, so we are now Sunday, August 23rd, and we had a great night of fights. UFC Fight Night from Sacramento, headlined by Hernandez and Rodrigues. And then to finish off the night, we had WBO 147-pound title fight between the reigning champion Rolando Romero, aka Rollies, versus Teofimo Lopez, who was moving up from 140 pounds, and he captured his third title in the third weight class. So, yeah, man, it was crazy. They were supposed to walk out at 10. The UFC main event literally wrapped up a minute before 10 o'clock. So I switched over thinking that, they were about to do their walkouts because the walkouts were supposed to start at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. on the zone. But of course, boxing just runs on like their own time, never starts on time. It was still like the 7th round of the co-main event. So, which I'm glad I caught, because that was gonna be a little prelude to the judging in that co-main event between Hernandez and Verón. And then of course the judging that happened in the main event of Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez. But I'm gonna do a complete breakdown of that fight, the Rolly fight and Teofimo, in another episode, because people hate when I mix my MMA and boxing together. So I'm gonna do that in a separate episode. I'm gonna just run down the entire night of the UFC Fight Night live from Sacramento. So we're gonna jump right into it right now. So Anthony Fluffy Hernandez took on Gregory Rodrigues, and Gregory Rodrigues wins unanimous decision. I believe it was 49-46 on all three judges' scorecards. But the entire night, before I jump into this fight, the entire night was an amazing night of fights. Sacramento got their money's worth. There was 13 fights, 10 finishes on the card. I mean, it was just action-packed. There was, like I said, only 3 fights went to the distance, and those 3 fights were pretty damn good. The main event was good. The co-main event, not so much. And then there was only one more fight that went to the decision, and that was the Gage Young, Stan Dorsonville fight. But the main event was a great fight. Anthony Hernandez, the reason he is loved so much is he proved it tonight. That dude is so gritty, hard as nails, never quits trying to win the fight. I mean, and Gregory Rodrigues was landing huge shots, and Hernandez stood in there, had his moments in the fight. So let's go down round by round. The first round, Fluffy comes out, immediately attacks a single leg, puts Gregory Rodrigues Hobocop on the fence, and is trying to work in there. And for most of the first round, it's Hernandez keeping Rodrigues up against the fence. Can't really secure a full takedown. I don't even know if I think he secured 2 takedowns in this fight. Maybe 1 that they gave him credit for. But it was most of that, just trying to keep him against the fence in that first round. But Rodrigues landed the bigger shots. He did clip him with a few shots in that first round. So the first round, to me, I scored it for Robocop, Gregory Rodrigues. The second round, Rodrigues does not allow himself to get on the fence line. He's starting to get on the front foot, backing Fluffy up, and he starts landing big leg kicks to the calf. I mean, if Rogan was there on the call tonight, he would have been losing his mind, because Rodrigues not only was landing calf kicks and Hernandez was not checking, but he dropped Fluffy 3 times with leg kicks. And I mean, not just, he fell and bounced back up. Like, he dropped him and you knew it hurt really bad, where Fluffy was like face down and like just grimacing. They were so bad. Like, you could tell he was in trouble. And I have to give it to Fluffy. Any other person, any other fighters, a lot of them would not have continued, because those were bad leg kicks. But he was still, in the fight. He started to switch and he went to southpaw, which, it kind of threw him off, because that's not really how he likes to stalk guys down. And you could tell, because he'd be in southpaw, but then he'd switch before he went for a shot for that single leg again. But Gregory Rodrigues, he had the second round by, easily the biggest round, easiest scored round for Rodrigues in that fight with the leg kicks, and was landing big shots. The third round, Fluffy comes out southpaw, so he doesn't have his lead left leg exposed, and he puts the work on Gregory Rodrigues this round. I mean, he's landing shots. He is putting him against the fence, landing big elbows, cut him actually in that, I think in the second or third, with the elbow over the top. That was the clear-cut round for Fluffy Hernandez. And then the fourth round, after that big comeback in the third, Gregory Rodrigues comes back and puts him back on the back foot like he did in the second round, landing big shots, goes back to the leg kick, just really making Hernandez work. And Fluffy was still trying to push for the takedowns, but Gregory was just, and after the third, I thought he was going to be done. He looked exhausted, dejected, because he almost had him out of there in the second. And then for Fluffy to roar back in that third and just put the screws to him, you know, in that third round, you know, landing big shots, wobbling them. And then Rodrigues, you got to tip his hat to him, because in the fourth round, he comes back and lands big shots and is on the front foot and putting Fluffy on the back foot and not letting him get him to the cage and start to lean on him and wear him down in the fence work like he did in that third. So I had scored the first and second for Rodrigues, the third for Fluffy, the fourth for Rodrigues. Going into the fifth, the crowd's going absolutely crazy. Fluffy's corner is telling him, bro, you have to go forward. You have to be in boxing distance, and you need to just throw punches until you can't throw anymore. Just keep throwing punches. Do not stop. And he went out there. He tried to get on the front foot, got Rodrigues against the fence, landed some good shots, but then Gregory comes back and just fucking starts throwing heat again in that fifth round, like really biting down on the mouthpiece and throwing 1-2s. And he did a great job all night of going to the body, you know, jabbing to the body, right hooks to the body. I mean, he made Fluffy feel some of those body shots, and that was a great game plan by RoboCop. He drops Fluffy towards the end of the round, about a minute, maybe a minute and a half left, with another leg kick. So he had put him down like 4 or 5 times with leg kicks. Puts him down, gets on top, and just rides him out. And I mean, just trying to land shots. Fluffy was landing good elbows from the bottom, but he needed a finish in this fight, and RoboCop knew he needed a finish, so he did a great job of keeping top heavy pressure and just landing shots and just running the round out, and he got a unanimous decision victory. I thought the judging was on point. You know, I had it exactly the same, 49-46. You know, the only round I gave Fluffy was the third round. So that was an amazing fight. I believe they got a bonus. It was Fluffy, Rodrigues got a bonus, probably for fight of the night, and then it was Medeiros got performance of the night, and Carly Judice got performance of the night. So, but everyone that got finishes gets a little extra. I don't know if it's 20 or 50,000 or something like that. I know they don't get the $100,000 bonus, but there was so many finishes on this card. I bet, you know, and Dana mentioned in the post-fight presser that it's nights like these where it makes it hard to give out bonuses, but at least everyone who got a finish is going to get some money. Co-main event, Sergey Spivak, the polar bear. He was ranked number 6 or 7, I believe, coming into this fight, taking on Vitor Petrino. And, so the main event, I had picked Fluffy to win, but in the breakdown I said Rodrigues has the power to change these fights, and he did absolutely that. But the thing I was more surprised by was the cardio of RoboCop. Gregory Rodrigues went the full 5. In that third round, I thought he was completely out of gas, but he just came back in that fourth, gutted it out, was gritty as hell, you know, and showed that he can go 5 rounds, even as much muscle as he holds. He's just gritty as hell. So I got that one wrong. So this whole card, bro, it was I batted maybe one fight over 500. There was a lot of upsets in this card. So yeah, it wasn't a great night to pick fights for me tonight, but that's just how it goes. The second fight, Sergey Spivak was the underdog coming in, taking on Vitor Petrino. Spivak, I picked Spivak to win. Petrino won the first round, but Sergey Spivak started to pick up with his boxing at the end of the first. The second round, Spivak comes out, lands 2 really good right hands, then makes Petrino shoot. A desperation shot. He gets Spivak down. He does a great job of end up getting to mount. Spivak does a good job of defending and not taking a lot of damage, but these are heavyweights. And I think it was 20 seconds left. You know, Petrino's staying busy. Spivak is moving from fully mounted to giving up his back to going back to mount, which I was yelling at the TV saying, just give up your back to give you an opportunity to be able to like turn or step over, peel a hook off, and then make a scramble out of it. Because when you're fully mounted, it's so hard because he was pinned up against the fence. His head was against the fence, and Petrino was trying his best to land big elbows, big overhand rights and lefts. So Spivak, he gives up his back finally with like 30 seconds left. Petrino goes to sink both hooks in, but gets too high. Spivak comes out the back, gets on Petrino's back, but he only had like 10 seconds to work with. If he would have done that earlier, maybe it would have been a completely different ball game, but that was the end of the round. And then the third round, Spivak's corner telling him, you got to go, you need to finish. And yeah, he just had nothing left in the gas tank, man. And he was kind of getting the better of the boxing exchanges, but Petrino just being so athletic and I mean, he fought like he had a really good game plan, maybe because he had a good corner. He was mixing it up well. He was still feinting and going for takedowns, making Spivak work because he knew he was tired, which is a great adjustment in the game plan. So you see that your opponent's just sucking when he's tired, you know, make him work, make him bite on the feints. That takes a lot of energy when you're already tired to react and then just be stuck there. So Vito Petrino ends up winning unanimous decision. I believe it was 30-27 on all three judges' scorecards. So I didn't get that pick right, but Spivak had opportunities. He just didn't have the gas to capitalize on anything. So then the feature fight, RDR makes his debut at 205 in the UFC, coming up from 185. Roman Dolidze as well moved up to 205 from 185 after his defeat by Fluffy. I think was his last defeat when he got submitted. Let me just double check real quick. So Dolidze, no, so he got beat by Fluffy. He moved up to 205 or 185, fought Chris Duncan, got beat there, and then now this was his first fight at 205, and he took on a hungry, prepared, emotional after the fight, Renier de Ridder. And RDR did pretty much what I thought he was going to do, but what I didn't expect was Roman Dolidze to come out. They crashed in. Dolidze gets double underhooks in the center of the octagon and then sits to guard. Like literally pulls RDR into his guard because Roman Dolidze likes to fish for leg locks. So as soon as he pulls him under, he tries to invert and go for a knee to extend the foot out. And RDR, who has great jiu-jitsu, shuts everything down from Roman Dolidze. You know, just stays calm, doesn't panic in these situations, and does a great job of peeling hooks off, peeling off the feet, stepping over, knee slicing beautifully to half guard. Roman would dive under again. RDR would step up, step back out, you know, cut through again, get to a side control position, and then he eventually finished him. Roman Dolidze was just looked completely gassed. And this is like in the first round. He was only 4 minutes in. And he gives up his back. RDR gets the hooks in. And just, I mean, there was, before he got the finish, they should have finished it, I thought, a minute, maybe 30 seconds before. But great job by Frank Trigg, who was former UFC fighter, former title contender for the 170-pound title back in the day. He was the referee. He gave Roman Dolidze every opportunity to stay in this fight, you know. And RDR finally, like I mentioned, gets to his back and just stops him with ground and pound. Good win. I had picked RDR on this fight. I actually bet on this fight as well. I bet on some of the other ones, but I did in the parlay, and that parlay got absolutely thrown down the toilet with Mason Jones, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But RDR wins this fight. He was emotional afterwards, said he has been gone from his kids for 8 weeks. He was ready to get home, but great win by RDR, and he looked good. He really looked good, healthy, strong, and big at 205. The next fight down was Markel Maderos taking on Mason Jones. I had picked Mason Jones to win this fight. He was the big favorite at minus 380, I believe, taking on Markel Maderos, who was a plus 300. I think by the time fight time came, he was like a plus 285. Mason Jones was a minus 285 on DraftKings. And I like Mason Jones. I really like Mason Jones, but man, Markel Maderos did not go away, and he was there to fight. And I gave Mason Jones the first round. Medeiros looked really good early, slick, landing shots, outside leg kicks, inside leg kicks, 1-2s down the middle. Mason Jones, you could tell he got frustrated, turned on the gas, started landing big shots on Medeiros. I actually thought Mason Jones turned that first round around and won it with some bigger shots. And the second round, he came out hunting for big shots because Medeiros was being really slick. And Mason Jones catches him with a right hand, you know, wobbles him. And I'm thinking, okay, this is the end. I'm going to keep going with my parlay. We're going to be good. And then Medeiros just walks him into a beautiful overhand right elbow. I mean, Mason Jones closes, Medeiros parries, bam, eat that, boom, and wobbles Mason Jones bad. Mason Jones falls to the cage side, and Medeiros doesn't go crazy, but stays patient. And then he knew Mason Jones was hurt, and he was going to throw another big right hand, and the same thing, bam, lands him with another one that hurts him bad. And then right hand, left hook, give it to Mason Jones. He still didn't go down. The referee stepped in and stopped the fight. Markel Medeiros wins second round TKO. But, man, Mason Jones was a dog, and he stood in there, didn't go down, but great stoppage by the referee because he was out on his feet. Shout out to Markel Medeiros. That was an amazing performance by him. Someone who was under my radar, if I have to be honest. I haven't watched a lot of his fights. I knew the name because he had the draw with Chris Padilla, who was on this card as well. And I know Padilla's a dog, and they had the draw. But, man, I didn't know if he was going to be able to take on the striking and the size of Mason Jones, and he did, man, and he looked great. So I had picked Mason Jones, Markel Medeiros won. So just from the first fights, from the top down on the main event, I'm down 0-1 with Fluffy, 0-2 with Spivak, 1-2 with RDR, 1-3 Medeiros beating Jones. I picked Carly Judice, so that kind of gets me another win. But she was a big-time favorite at minus 575, and she stops Gisela Chavez with a front snap kick right to the liver. Like, it looked like it was like right under the ribs, but you could tell it slid down, hit her in the liver. Gisela Chavez goes down. Carly Judice jumps all over her, gets the first round finish. It was a perfectly placed kick, but she was all over from the jump of this fight. So that's another win for me. And then Anthony Went, who was like the big time favorite. He was like minus 900 on DraftKings 2 days ago. I think he closed like at over minus 1,000 versus Terrence Chatham. He wins by submission via arm triangle in the first round, 429 in the first round. So let's see, that's 1, 2, 3. I went 3-on-3 on the main card, which is not great, but that's just how it went for me this week. And then the prelims, Jamal Emmers, I picked Leary Douglas. Jamal Emmers gets him out of there in the first round with a beautifully placed straight right hand and drops Douglas. Like, when he hit him and he just dropped down, because he didn't go back or like hands went limp and fell forward. He got hit and then he shelled up and dropped right straight down. So immediately I thought, like, oh my God, he broke his orbital bone or something, where he wasn't knocked out, but something happened where it hurt so bad that he just went down to cover up. He looked fine afterwards, but maybe he did. I think he ate it kind of in the eye too. Like a perfectly legal shot, but he hit him like right here, and then the other knuckles probably snuck into the eyeball, which is probably why Leary Douglas just went down like that, because he wasn't out. He just went down like he was seriously hurt. Like, that's why I thought maybe he got his orbital shattered or something, which I don't know yet, hasn't came out. But Jamal Emmers, beautiful performance. He was using distance beautifully, dancing around the black line of the cage, octagon cage, making Leary Douglas come to him, and then he just stopped, planted, and boom, took that right hand straight down the middle on Leary Douglas and gets him out of there with the KO. The next fight down, the heavyweight fight, Kennedy and Nzechukwu versus Shamil Gaziev. I picked Kennedy to win. He's a Dallas-Fort Worth guy. He's looked pretty good at heavyweight. I thought he would try to use a little bit more, mix it up with the striking and the wrestling. And Shamil gets him out of there in the first round, minute 20 in the first by KO. Yeah, man, that's tough. Very tough to see somebody who you've seen. He fought on the same regional promotion as I did, Extreme Knockout. So I always kind of root for those guys, man. Root for my guys. So that was difficult to see him go down and fall to Shamil Gaziev. And then the next fight down, Chris Padilla versus Nasrat Hakparast. This was a crazy fight. And this was the first fight of the night because it was so full of action from the beginning, working its way up, where they was getting booed. Chris Padilla and Nasrat. I thought I had maybe 1-1 going in the third because they were very close rounds. They were being very cautious of each other, not overextending. It was pretty much one, two shots at a time. Leg kicks here. I had Nasrat winning. Chris Padilla could have won the second round because he did land some pretty good shots in there late in the second. But I still could have saw it being 2-0 for Nasrat. But I could have seen it 1-1 as well. And then going into the third, Chris needed to win that round to have a chance at winning a decision. Nasrat started really good. Chris Padilla started to turn it up. Actually hurt Nasrat like in the last minute of this fight. And he has him up against the cage, hits him with a right hand, and then locks up a standing arm triangle with like 15 seconds, maybe less. And it's tight. Like he has it all the way. Like he got it, his neck, his arm was here. He pinned it, and then he slid his arm all the way down to the elbow, and he was just squeezing hard. And you can see Nasrat was trying to like post off his hand. Padilla swings him around, puts him down on the mat flat, and really puts the squeeze on him with like 2 seconds, 3 seconds left. Frank Trigg is the referee. You could see it because the clock is literally behind them where they were positioned in the octagon. And you can see the clock go 3, 2, 1. And then right before the 1, you can see Nasrat's arm go down, like kind of fall down. The bell goes off for the last round in the third. At the end of the third, Padilla lets go, and Nasrat is completely unconscious, and you can see his body starting to twitch because that's what your body does when you go out via choke. It's your blood trying to rush back into your head to wake you up. And as soon as Trigg saw that, he waved it off, which I thought was a great call, right? Because he was out literally right before the bell. So I know this has happened before, and Herb Dean was the referee, and he let it go to the judges' scorecards. And the guy who was out ended up winning on the scorecards. I'm glad Frank Trigg was in there and called it a finish at 4:59 in the third round. Great job by Chris Padilla. Great job by Frank Trigg, the referee, to call it for what it was. Nasrat was out right, not even a second, milliseconds before the bell went off for the end of the fight. And Chris Padilla wins via submission, arm triangle at 4:59 in the third round. I called that. I had picked Chris Padilla to win this one. He was a slight favorite. It wasn't too crazy. He was like a -115 by closing. Nasrat was like a +105 or 110. Something like that. It was very, very close. Next fight down, I had picked Marcio Barboza to beat Ryan Coos. He did. So I got to admit, I watched the Chanel Dyer Elise Reed fight, the Wes Schultz Jackson McVeigh fight, and then I kind of took a snooze on the couch while I was watching. So I missed the Marcio Barboza Ryan Coos fight and the Gage Young versus Stan Dorsenville fight. But Marcio, I picked him to win. He was the huge favorite. And I picked him by stoppage under 2.5 rounds or under 1.5 rounds. He won in the first round by KO. And then I picked Gage Young to beat Stan Dorsenville. Stan Dorsenville wins a unanimous decision. Jackson McVeigh, I picked him to win by submission. He wins by KO in this round. He lands a nasty knee right to the solar plexus that drops Wes Schultz in the first round towards the end and just KOs him. But that was I thought it was going to be a submission because Wes Schultz is a jiu-jitsu heavy guy. McVeigh is a jiu-jitsu heavy guy as well, so he's been working on his striking. And right away, Wes Schultz comes out, goes for the takedown, jumps on McVeigh's neck, and has like a Darce in. But McVeigh did a beautiful job of keeping the hook in, not allowing Wes Schultz to get to the side to flatten him out or to hook a leg, and just stayed scrappy in there, fighting the legs, making just enough space to not allow Wes Schultz to really lock it up. Great job of scrambling back up, and then just, man, working Wes Schultz with the just basic jabs and 1-2s. Jabs and 1-2s. He was just making him eat him. And then he jabbed, feinted the 2. Wes Schultz ducked his head, and McVeigh threw a beautiful knee right up the middle. Catches him, drops Schultz down to the bottom, or hits him in the solar plexus. Schultz goes down immediately. McVeigh jumps in, gets maybe 2 shots in. Ref steps in. Beautiful stoppage. McVeigh gets the win by KO. And then to open the entire night, Chanel Dyer from England, making her second fight. This is her second fight in the UFC. She won the 100,000 performance of the night bonus on her debut. And she actually just beats the hell out of Elise Reed. Elise Reed, she's fought for a long time. Her biggest one, I think, is Jessica Penne. But she was completely outclassed by Chanel Dyer in this fight. It was just one-way traffic. Dyer was hitting her with everything. 1, 2, 3 of the body, head kick combinations, leg kicks, check left hook, right hand, left hook, uppercut. I mean, she could hit her with anything she wanted. And going in the third round, between the second and third, Elise Reed's corner is like, do you want to be here? Because if you don't, I can stop it right now. I thought they should have stopped it because she was just eating damage. And then, you know, she's a warrior, man. She wanted to go out. She went out into the third round, and Chanel Dyer got her out of there. Just pieced her up, man. I can't even remember right now exactly what it was, but I know she was eating shots. And she ate like a big right hand. Elise Reed went up against the fence, and Dyer just went in and unloaded with big combinations until the referee stepped in and stopped the fight. Chanel Dyer looks great. She's going to be an up-and-comer in the strawweight division. So it shouldn't be long before we start seeing her against some names that we recognize. Not top 15 just yet. Definitely not top 10, but names that we've seen before, like, you know, let's see, maybe like the Thai girl, Lumbenki or whatever like that. Stuff like that. Like names that we've seen before who maybe are a little bit past their prime but still have name value. We'll start seeing her take on girls like that. And I think she should just run through those girls, get some more experience inside the octagon. And then I'll give her another year, 2 years, and then she will be in the top 5, you know, clawing and scratching for a shot at the title. So that's the breakdown for UFC Fight Night Sacramento. It was an amazing night of fights. Like I said, 13 fights, 10 finishes. The main event was worth your money alone. I mean, it was just action-packed night of fights. So that's all I got for me tonight on the UFC side. I'm going to come back. I'm going to do a video recapping Rolly Romero, Teofimo Lopez for the WBA 147-pound title. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications. Watch fights, drink pints. See you on the next one. Peace.